Hi campers! Today you're going to be learning about environmental engineering and going to be doing a challenge. So let's first talk about what environmental engineering is. Environmental engineering is the application of engineering principles to preserving the natural environment around us and ensuring that what we do has a minimal impact on the world around us. A good example of environmental engineering are oil rigs. So oil rigs are built out in the ocean and are used to pull up natural gas for us to use in our cars, in our homes, and a lot of other places. So the problem is, when we build oil rigs, they are drilling into the ground and they are building in an environment where a lot of sea creatures are present. So we have to think as people, like how our building and how our drilling is going to affect the environment around them. The same thing could be said about construction. So when you're building houses or you're building buildings, you're taking away that land that creatures and plants and animals are all using as their homes and places to get food. So environmental engineers are there to make sure that whoever is building these buildings or whoever's building these homes are building their buildings in a way that is sustainable and does not harm our natural resources.
Environmental engineers and marine biologists work really closely together because there's a lot of stuff in the ocean called marine debris. A lot of things, a lot of construction, a lot of plastics are put into the water, unfortunately, on accident. We call anything that goes into the water by accident or that is not organic or not naturally there, marine debris. So whether a oil rig will drop a hard hat off into the ocean, or if a shrimper loses part of his net in the water, or if there's a huge storm and a bunch of trees get washed into the ocean, it's called marine debris. Anything that's floating around and causing debris in the ocean. One of the largest forms of marine debris is something called a nurdle. Everyone say it out loud with me. Nurdle, like nerd and turtle combined into one word. A nurdle is a pre-production plastic particle. So what happens before your plastic water bottle becomes in this shape of a bottle and that you get to drink, or before your shovel that you use for sand castles gets formed, they start out as little pieces of plastic called a nurdle. And these little tiny nurdles get shipped on trains and over the ocean through boats and ships off to their destination to be molded into what their final destination of plastic formation will be. Now, a nurdle are these small round pieces. We also have little pieces of plastic particles that have washed ashore and are broken pieces of plastic. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about these particles that are formed by companies to become water bottles or any type of other plastic product that you have. And so these nurdles are really small. And what happens is filter feeders in the ocean, like our whales, humpback whales, or our sharks, like the whale shark, our filter feeding animals, will be skimming the surface of the water, and these plastic pieces will float. And they're the most abundant form of marine debris in the ocean right now. So a lot of animals are getting these particles stuck in their stomachs, and it causes them a really bad belly ache. They can't digest it properly, and it's not very good for them. If they have enough plastic particles in their body, they can have so much that they're not hungry, they're not feeling the urge to eat, and it can make them starve. So it can be really bad. And so our filter feeding animals, the ones that are skimming through the ocean, are really a danger for these as well. Now you guys are gonna get to collect some nurdles and get an example of collection of nurdles. If you ever go to Galveston or any beachfront ever, you can always go in at the top layer where the ocean, the highest tide line where the ocean has come in, you can find nurdles in the sand. You can also find nurdles in the water as well. And there's an online website where you can actually go to and record your nurdle findings. What you do is you, for 10 minutes, time yourself and see how many nurdles you can find in one area. You report it to nurdlepatrol.com, and you're able to help scientists figure out how to track these nurdles and where they're ending up. So you guys can find that link in the description of the video, and you too can be a nurdle patroller and try to find some of these. But today we're going to work on a little bit of a challenge that's going to allow you to find the best way to find these nurdles on the beach.
Howdy campers! So you've learned all about nurdles, right? Now let's do something fun. We are going to build our very own nurdle collection device, and you can do that using household supplies right in your own home. So it's really good during these activities to use something that's either recyclable or something that you're upcycling from your house. So you probably have lots of beach toys in your garage, or colanders in your kitchen, paper towel, paper plates, you name it, all that kind of stuff. You can use a range of different supplies right from your own house. So what you're going to do is you're going to design something that is going to collect nurdles. All right, so now remember, this device, it's got to be effective, right? You want to be able to actually catch nurdles. So what you're going to want to do is design something that will act sort of as a sieve, so that when you put sand on top of it, it's going to filter out the sand and all of the smaller debris and leave the nice little nurdles right up there on the top. Actually, they're not nice nurdles, are they? They're bad nurdles. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna think about it. We're gonna really put on our thinking caps and think about, how can I design this? So it's always good to maybe draw it out first, so you can kind of think of a few things that you think you might be able to use to sift nurdles out of the sand, and maybe draw it on a piece of paper and then think about the materials you're going to use to build it. Now remember, we're working with sand, right? And lots of other heavy kind of materials and natural things. So you want to make sure that your nurdle collector is durable as well as effective. All right, campers, let's see what you've got.
Okay, so this is my nurdle catching device that I came up with. I took a styrofoam bowl and some medical gauze and duct taped it around the bottom here. I cut out the bottom of the styrofoam bowl as well. However, I think if I had to do this again, I wouldn't use the gauze because the holes here are too close together. So while it's really good at scooping up and holding sand, it's not super good at getting rid of the sand and keeping the nurdles. So you can see where I kind of tried to put some bigger holes in here, but it's still not quite working.
I would like to introduce you all to the Whale Shark 3000 Nurdle Patrol Catcher. So I drew my inspiration from the whale shark, which I believe is the couch potato of the shark family. So whenever I'm nurdle collecting, I get tired of bending down. So I attach a pencil holder or a utensil holder using duct tape to yardsticks. And these yardsticks allow me to use this like a vacuum and like a strainer, as a whale shark would do in the ocean, and be able to get all that sand out and hopefully collect some nurdles. Action.
All right, this is my nurdle collecting device. So what I did here was I used a mesh laundry bag, an old mesh laundry bag, and I cut the bottom. And when I cut the bottom, I then tied a cord around it like this. And inside of the mesh laundry bag, I put an old sieve. You can use kind of a colander or something like that at home. A sieve is just something that helps sort the sand out and the smaller particles. So then after I got the sieve in there, what I did was I attached a bottle like this to the net. Now this plastic bottle I drilled holes in the bottom of. So this whole thing is kind of like a plankton net. It's kind of like that type of concept, but in reverse. All right, so I tried this out first down at the high water line. So the sample that I put in here was more wet sand, which is a little bit better for this type of design. So again, because I was using this in the water and using heavy wet sand, this design needed to be very durable. All right, so I've already used it once and I've caught, I think 4 nurdles. So overall, I'm pretty happy with it, but I might make a few changes in just a bit. we know many of you probably don't live by the beach, but we still want you to be able to do this activity at home. So one of the things that you can do is you can go to the store and get some Nerds, all right? Those are those fabulous little brightly colored candies, which many of your parents might not know are actually in their very own food group because they're so important to science. All right, so you can get a box of Nerds and pretend like they're Nurdles, and you can hide them in some sand or some dirt right there in your house. You can use like a plastic tub or something, and then test out your device to see how it works collecting those fabulous tasting little candies.